So here's one historical update that I've been wanting to do, and it's been on Jack the Ripper. If anyone has been familiar with the serial murderer in London in London in the 1800s in the area, I think it was Whitechapel. I'm gonna read through some of it anyway. Apparently, they've identified who it is finally after like 137 years later. But for anyone that's unfamiliar about the story, legend, background of Jack the Ripper, let's go over a little bit of it here. Jack the Ripper was previously an unidentified serial killer who was active in and around the impoverished Whitechapel district of London, England in 1888. In both criminal case files and the contemporary journalistic accounts, the killer was also called the Whitechapel Murderer and the Leather Apron. Here goes a rooster. Attacks ascribed to Jack the Ripper typically involve women working as prostitutes who lived in the slums of East End of London. Their throats were cut prior to abdominal mutilations. The removal of internal organs from at least 3 of the victims led to speculation that their killer had some anatomical or surgical knowledge. Rumors that the murders were connected intensified in September and October 1888, and numerous letters were received by media outlets in Scotland Yard from people purporting to be the murderer. The name Jack the Ripper originated in the Dear Boss letter, written by someone claiming to be the murderer, which was disseminated in the press. The letter is widely believed to have been a hoax and may have been written by journalists to heighten interest in the story and increase their newspaper circulation. Another, the From the Hell letter, was received by George Lusk of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee and came with a half-preserved human kidney, purportedly taken from one of the victims. The public came to believe in the existence of a single serial killer known as Jack the Ripper, mainly because of both of the extraordinarily brutal nature of the murders and media coverage of the crimes. Extensive newspaper coverage bestowed widespread and enduring international notoriety on the Ripper, and the legend solidified. A police investigation into a series of 11 brutal murders committed in Whitechapel and Spitalfields, there, between 1888 and 1891 was unable to connect all of the killings exclusively to the murders of 1888 5 victims: Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly are known as the Canonical Five, and their murders between the 31st of August and 9 of November 1888 are often considered the most likely to be linked. The murders were never solved. The legends surrounding these crimes became a combination of historical research, folklore, and pseudo-history, capturing public imagination to the present day. So the guy was involved in multiple murders and killing mainly prostitutes. Now, they've come up with the identity of this person. Why am I only seeing a fucking picture instead of what I'm actually looking for? And it's going to be explained in that. I'm not going to listen to these assholes. It's going to be explained. Basically, it was a pole arc. I don't know what I was expecting about who it was going to be. It was a Polish guy. He was a barber, coincidentally enough. But he immigrated from Poland and came to England and then worked as a barber. You know, again, I don't know what I expected. I don't know. I maybe a crazy Russian, maybe a fucking Turkish guy or something. I don't know. I don't know what I expected. I just didn't think it'd be a crazy-ass fucking Polish guy with schizophrenia. So apparently, he eventually ended up in a mental institution for schizophrenia, and I think he ended up dying there. But here's the breakdown of all of it. The guy's name, how they got the blood from him in order to test the DNA of it, and apparently the mystery has been solved. Jack the Ripper, just a crazy-ass polar.
Serial killers' nicknames come up a lot on this show, but for my money, the best one probably is the first one, Jack the Ripper. Gotta be honest, the name Aaron Kosminski just doesn't have the same impact, doesn't pack the same punch. But tonight it is confirmed, if not yet official, Kosminski did indeed pack the same punch as Jack, because they are one and the same. Let me take you back almost 140 years to the Whitechapel area of London. This is where I need to stop and warn you that the photos I'm going to show are graphic. At least 5 women were slashed to death on those cobblestone streets. Their organs were removed. It happened between August and November of 1888. Aaron Kosminski was a 23-year-old immigrant who'd come to London years earlier from Poland. His occupation? Can't make it up. Barber. Person of interest was not a term back then, but it really would have applied. Because police looked at Kosminski. They just never had enough evidence to arrest him. They really never had much evidence, period. Fingerprints weren't even an acceptable crime-fighting tool in Britain until almost a decade later. That is how cold this case is. But that uncertainty about Aaron Kosminski did not stop Madame Tussauds from immortalizing him in wax and including him in the Jack the Ripper Chamber of Horrors. But beyond that, and certainly before that, there was nothing definitively tying him to the Ripper until now. And what is that evidence, you ask? I thought you would. It seems the Ripper's fourth victim, Catherine Eddowes, was wearing a shawl the night that she and one other victim were killed just minutes apart, killed and mutilated. The shawl was blood-stained, of course, and somehow in 2007 it was put up for auction. The winning bidder was an author and Jack the Ripper scholar named Russell Edwards, and Edwards went right to work testing the century-old shawl for DNA. And the results? A 100% match to Aaron Kosminski by way of his oldest brother's great-great-granddaughter, who provided a sample for comparison. Edwards now wants a formal inquest to officially put one of history's greatest mysteries to rest. And though it is far too late for Kosminski to pay for his crimes, you might be comforted to know that he did end up locked up for the rest of his life in a mental asylum, being treated for schizophrenia. There's no word on whether any other patients in that sanatorium turned up dead or missing.